Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back with a Friday night and slightly later episode than normal. It's a big one, Dean. There's only 2 game weeks left. How are you feeling about that? And it's a double game week too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine, mate. It's you that needs the rest at this point. I've only got my busy period of the season approaching because I deal with transfer windows. But for you, you have 9 months on. I mean, I'm on, but not like you have to be to tip everyone off on this kind of stuff and be across it. Whereas my transfer season is just approaching. So how are you more like it, mate?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. To be fair, I feel like most in my position are feeling similar. Even those on really good ranks are having a great season. And most of you guys watching, you'll probably feel the same. Like we're playing now, we're semi-enjoying those small wins when we get them, but we're also probably mostly ready for a break. But that doesn't stop people wanting to watch streams like this and absorb content because it's the business end of the season where bragging rights are at stake in your mini leagues, and you've got to get these next 2 weeks right. So getting all those marginal gains and tips from channels like us hopefully is really useful for you. And if you've watched the show in the last couple of weeks, you'll know that I was very big on, say, Callum Wilson captain. So I'm hoping there's 1 or 2 in the chat that followed me with that move. Let us know if you went Callum Wilson and you were influenced maybe by Chasing Green Arrows, or maybe it was by world number 1, FPL Guns, in the chat this evening. One that told me 2 weeks ago, go Callum Wilson early. I did it. FPL Guns did it a week after. Top of the charts still. I'm delighted for him because he didn't have a Stupid Man. But yeah, he went big on Wilson, knowing everyone below him owned and captain Isak. That was high risk.
Yeah, that is high risk. So I'm just looking at it now, actually. Got, a 19-point lead at the top. Good luck, Ali. Like, this is it, mate. This is it. Like, 2 weeks to go and you're the champion of FPL. That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous to have even come this far. I mean, how many weeks has he been up there now? Like, how that we've been aware of? I mean,
I can't remember a previous winner being up for so long. Like, I feel like the top 2 or 10 interchange all the time. But yeah, I think maybe there's did we
small
start
drop off
to
at
know Ali
point
around sort of 7-8 game weeks ago, maybe 10 game weeks ago, like game week 28, maybe?
Yeah, I reckon so.
26, 28.
And I remember there's that 1 week where he dropped off to like 4th or something and bounced back. Like, Ali, well done, mate. Like, whatever happens from here, and I know like you just want to win it from here, obviously, but you've done so well. It's like so well to focus like this and stay ahead of the pack.
Yeah, seeing great comments in the chat too. And Ali, welcome to the stream as always. If you've got a question for Ali, put it in the chat. I'm sure we'll get back to you. Nuclear Atoms, a bad week for Nuclear Atoms because Real Madrid got absolutely hammered. But he says, greetings. I was a chaser and I captained Wilson. Well played. Taufik says, always influenced by Gianni, except for the Chelsea bias. That's a very fair point, mate. If I ever tip a Chelsea player, do err on the side of caution there. Havertz says hi. Ivor says, I was influenced by Wilson captain on your channel, Gianni. That's really good to hear. Dave went Isak, but at least he transferred Wilson in. So he went for the double Newcastle attack. I like that. Fair play. So look, loads of you there. And for those of you that did go Isak, don't beat yourself up about it. It's still a good pick. There's nothing wrong with Isak on paper. And there are a few rage transferring him out. I would be reluctant to do that against Leicester coming up next. Isak could very easily score points against Leicester at home, which is on Monday, by the way. So the turnaround time, for those worrying about Wilson starting again, for those worrying about, will Isak, he's played quite a few sets of 90. It's a Thursday, Monday turnaround. I think even for Wilson, that's okay, knowing there's only 1 game left after that. And it's, again, another 5 days rest. So yeah. I'm cool with that turnaround time. Do you think we're safe there, Dean, with kind of Wilson minutes? He's playing so well and scoring goals. You can't drop him, can you?
No way. I mean, they've got Leicester. There's no team you want to play more right now, I don't think, than Leicester. What a fixture. perfect amount of time to recover, but not too big a break that you lose that buzz that you've built up during this little period. Like, just 100% on it right now. I mean, like I mentioned before in the last show that I didn't go Wilson captain, and that was because I was out with all the people in my mini league on the Friday night this time last week, and discovered like during our night out, like everyone around me had captained Wilson. So I was like, there's not any point me doing this. I'm going to go Haaland just to try and catch them. I mean, obviously I've lost a bit of ground there, but I had to try something different just for that mini league, because I wanted to try and win some money, and I'm right on the fringes of doing so. So it's a bit annoying because I should have had more points than I've got, but that's the kind of decision you've got to make at this stage, isn't it? But yeah, I think like Wilson particularly, totally fine. I mean, would I captain him? I mean, don't know. What do you think about that? Would you captain Wilson again?
If it was a single game week, I'd have no hesitation. But as always, I'm going to be blinded by the doubles. And I'm probably captaining a player. Well, I'm definitely captaining a player that's got no chance of 180 minutes. There's no way Haaland's going to play 180, surely.
No,
but there are players out there like Bruno, who's going to get 180 because he plays every minute God sends.
Yeah.
And he's got Bournemouth and Chelsea. Like, I think Bruno's a really nice option. I'm going to be going Haaland, but still, knowing Wilson's probably going to get 70, 80, I'm like, yeah, I couldn't go there. But look, owning him feels like enough at the moment because he's still fairly differential. Yeah, what are your early thoughts on captain, Dean, before we go into fresh off the press coming up next?
I mean, I am on Haaland as it stands. I mean, I've stuck with him. I just think that like they've got so much at stake here. Pep talking up the fact that the Premier League is what matters most and getting this clinched. Chelsea, I just think about how many injuries they've got and the fact that Lampard is chopping and changing the system and the selection every week. City have just beaten Real Madrid 4-0. What are they going to do to Chelsea? Like, that's a 6-0.
Yeah.
Like that could be a 6-0.
And it will be the first choice 11 because it will win them the title if they win it.
This is it. Like, I just have to go Haaland, knowing that like this is such a big game for them. And it wins them the title. Like, it's impossible to look past. I mean, I was actually in the playground earlier as I was picking my boy up from school. One of the other dads came up to me. He knows about the show, and he was like, "Look, I've got a problem. I'm like stuck in right at the bottom of my mini league, and I need to try and get out. I need a captain that isn't Haaland." And I was like, "Look, you've just got to go Bruno Fernandes. It's the only way you can try it. If you're not going to go Haaland and you've got to try something else, then go Bruno. But it's still a gamble."
Yeah, I love that. Stories from the playground. I think let's move on with some more stories, but from the press conferences today and the news, because of course we know a little bit more about Rashford. There's, as Dean mentioned, Chelsea injuries, but loads of you are asking about Rashford, so we'll probably touch on that. Of course we will in Fresh Off the Press. So let's go there coming up next.
I mean, it's a nightmare decision, Rashford. So let's just literally read the quotes from Ten Hag today. Marcus trained the whole week, but today he reported he doesn't feel well. He's ill. We have to see how he recovers during the day, and then we'll see tomorrow how he is. I mean, there's nothing you can take from that. There's literally nothing you can take from that apart from doubts. What do you do? I mean, you have to assume he's not great. I just think it would have been a good captain option for sure. And now he's not a captain option. He might still be a selection option. Like, he might be like, if it's possible he plays this weekend, then it's certainly possible that he plays in midweek. So I think you can, if you didn't want to make the extra transfer to get him out, I don't think that's the end of the world. But there's a lot of people that were relying on this, I reckon. And it's nightmare news because none of us can know how Rashford is feeling right now. It's not an injury where you can scope out percentages of recovery. It's not where something you could look at a track history, like when we talked about looking at how Rashford recovered for that Newcastle game last time. It's an illness. We don't even know what it is. So like, there's loads of bugs flying around right now. Like, You know, one of my boys had it and he was okay in 24 hours. My sister got it and she was out for 3 days. So if that's the same sort of bug, I can't predict which one Marcus Rashford's got. Yeah, Matty says I'm keeping him definitely. Still a good game against Chelsea, and that's exactly the point. I mean, I'll be honest, mate. I'm not sure Man United are going to beat Bournemouth anyway. I've not got high Man United going into that game. I've got more hope for them playing in that Chelsea fixture. Then he says Rashford will probably play 120 minutes. Look, he could do. I'd say if you've got him, gamble, keep him in there because he'll play the Chelsea game. But just bear in mind that you might be playing with 10 men on Saturday.
Yeah, I hear that. I was just doing some digging a couple of minutes before we came on air, Dean, and there is an FPL. This is how into it FPL managers are.
Yeah.
There's an FPL account called FPL Tommy Gun, who posted a video not long ago, and he obviously lives near Bournemouth. I hope he lives near Bournemouth. But he's gone to the coach and filmed the United players stepping off the bus. Now, it's as always with United, a lot of circus around there.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think on mobile phones you wouldn't get much great imagery. He's literally climbed a wall and he's shooting down. I've just shared his Twitter link for those that want to watch the video. And there's a 30-second video, and you see all the main players coming off the bus. There are a few with hoods up, including one guy that's directly behind Sancho that looks to be the sort of shape and size of Rashford. And someone in the crowd does shout Rashford, but he's so covered up, you just don't know if it's him or not. Now, looking at the headphones he's wearing, Wan-Bissaka, who wasn't seen in the other shots, has been seen in the past wearing these red headphones. So I think, and looking at the way he's walking, I think it's more Wan-Bissaka than Rashford. So there is no evidence yet, and we can probably name you 15 players that have travelled because we've seen them. We cannot confirm Rashford has been seen. There is no one that has said and been able to show evidence that that is Rashford coming off the team bus. So I don't think he's travelled. Could he have travelled alone, Dean? They flew from Manchester to Bournemouth. The chances of him travelling alone are pretty rare, right? That's at a
depends.
distance.
But the thing is, because it's a bug, you don't want the other players being on a coach with him, do you?
Right, yeah, and he had his hood, and that's why I thought maybe it could be him because he had his hood up. He was the only player that was completely covered, and I was like, "Oh, if you are feeling a bit ropey," but then I'm like, "You're so close to the other players."
This is the other thing. Like, honestly, they just stick him in a car and he'd travel on his own. Like, they have chauffeurs and stuff these days, and he would just be in the back asleep, and they would just drive him. They would just drive him nearby. So I'd take that. I love the investigative work, like I really do. But like, just knowing clubs and how they work and like the way that they figure these things out, like minimal chances of Rashford being stuck on a team coach with all the rest of the squad at a time when he's actually got an illness. So I think that's worth bearing in mind. So it probably was Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, I think it might be Wanny. There we go.
Nice.
If it's Wan-Bissaka, then we've got we might have a Rashford problem, which is interesting. I'm like, he plays game 2 for sure, as you say, Dean. But then also, if you sell Rashford, you've then not got him for Fulham at home, which could be good goals. Could be good for him, that home fixture against Fulham. Like, I'd be very reluctant to sell, knowing that I then don't have him in game week 38.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what we'll get from Fulham on that last day, but absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the thing that you're hoping on, isn't it? That Rashford can bang right at the end of the season. But I don't think you would take him out. I don't think anyone should do that right now. It's too risky, and you could be missing out on a good asset, especially as they've got that it's a double game week. If it was a single game week, I think you'd probably be more tempted to get rid of him. But I don't think so in that situation. Right, let's move on to Liverpool. I find this one really intriguing as well. Liverpool got Aston Villa, 3:00 on Saturday. Massive fixture for both teams, but particularly Liverpool, who are chasing down a top 4 spot. Team selection here is really difficult. Now, Darwin is not available. Didn't train. Not going to be playing. Firmino might play. Now, there's this whole thing where Liverpool have got like Firmino, James Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, all there for their last games at Anfield. Like, we know that they're leaving the club this summer. That's it. Like, trying to second guess like what he does here. Does he go with the emotion of Firmino? Like, is Firmino worth a punt for this game? Like, possibly. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that's the worst shout in the world. I think picking or predicting that team rather is very difficult from a Liverpool point of view, but especially knowing that Darwin is not available. Maybe Firmino gets more minutes than we might expect. Luis Diaz, obviously, a good option for Liverpool on the back of that news as well. So, yeah, interesting. Klopp says it's going to be a super emotional occasion as well. So, yeah, look out for what you're doing there. Chelsea, Frank Lampard, loads of problems here for Chelsea. They obviously have got nothing to play for, apart from the fact they're trying to stop Man City from winning the league. I personally think they get an absolute pasting. No Mason Mount, no Reece James, no Ben Chilwell, no N'Golo Kante, no Cucurella, possibly Koulibaly, probably no Badiashile. And on top of that, Frank Lampard keeps changing his team, keeps changing his formation. And Pochettino, now confirmed as Chelsea manager, and wants Lampard in these next 2 games to make sure he gives everyone a run out so we can actually have a look at
Yeah, good point.
That's the other thing to take into account here. Chelsea are literally preparing now for the Pochettino era. Pochettino wants to see them. He wants to see certain people. He's probably even told him he wants to see someone try in a certain role just so he can watch it to see how it scopes out, especially in a game like this against one of the best team in Europe. So impossible to predict that Chelsea team. Not sure many people have got anyone, especially Chilwell's not playing. Like, is there anyone else? I mean, Kepa, you might. I mean, I've still got him, but
there's a few that might punt on Sterling because he got a brace last time.
Yeah, and he'll probably play
because he plays against City and the sort of narrative against his old club. I don't hate it if you're really chasing and you've got like transfers or money to burn, but
yeah. Exactly that. Tafik says Dean loves the low-key offend Gianni when talking. Mate, I just don't like Chelsea. It doesn't matter if she's here or not, to be honest. Like, I'm just anti-Chelsea. I'm a Fulham fan, and like, it's just the way things go. And don't forget, people, I'm never going to have this opportunity again in the rest of my life. Fulham are finishing above Chelsea, and I'm happy about that. So I'm going to make the most of it. Genuinely never happening again. Right. For what it's worth, I think Chelsea might win the league next season. Like, I genuinely think that they've got a squad that is ready to go. Like, if they can beat Man City, who knows? But they'd probably be a better team next season than Arsenal. That's where I'm at with it. Here's a good one. Southampton. Southampton are already rubbish, right? They're playing against Brighton team who have a double. They're playing against this Brighton team that loads of us have assets. We're not sure if we have the right assets anymore. They're changing manager. They're going down a league, Southampton. And Ruben Sellers talking ahead of the game was talking about the amount of changes they're going to make, basically. They're going to be fielding kids here, basically, like some people that we've barely seen before. Like, I've even heard of them. Like, some of the people that are being mentioned of playing in this game for Southampton, I don't know who they are. They've been training with the first team. Like, obviously, they're good because they wouldn't even get near the standard of football if you're not. But to be going into a game against Brighton at this stage of the season when they've got a lot to play for, I mean, it's just all pointing at having Brighton assets. I don't know what Brighton assets to have anymore, mate. This is the problem. I just don't know.
The rotate. No one expected McAllister to be dropped the other night, and I was like, is he dropped because De Zerbi said they're tired and we need to have fresh legs, or is he dropped because they're preparing for life without him? He is one of the. If you were to list all the good Brighton players that are linked with moves away this summer, the one that we absolutely know is leaving, 99.9%, I guessed it, I'm right in saying this, your number one would be McAllister, right? And I'm like, is De Zerbi therefore trying to play without him to show? Like, this is a guy that played every game in the World Cup with fast turnaround time in the middle of a season. He can play 3 times in 7-8 days if he needs to. So I was surprised to see him dropped. And it does make me question if he comes in to start against Southampton. But then I'm like, if he is rotating the midfielders, then if anyone looks like they need a rest, if anyone looks like they're struggling with 3 games a week, it's Mitoma. And he's someone we've all got. Now, we need Matoma starting against Southampton. That is the one fixture why we're like, yeah, we keep Matoma in our team because he's going to play Southampton at home and Brighton are going to win 6-0. So I'm praying that Matoma and McAllister both start that match because, as you say, like there'll be kids on show. We saw what Brighton did when they put out a second string team at home in an easier fixture a couple of weeks back against Wolves, 6-0. So I'm really hoping that we see the main men for Brighton play. One guy I know who will come in and will start, and if you can make this move easily this week, Enciso is an absolute buy. He's like a 4.6 million forward. I can almost guarantee you he will be starting against Southampton. And the sort of player he is, he'll be firing.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's brilliant. That is a really good point. It's really hard to read Brighton at the moment. Like obviously, 1 minute they're getting high scoring wins, next minute they're losing 4-1. Like I don't know what we're getting, but what I do know is that Southampton are, well, they're through the floor. Like this season has absolutely gone and run away from them, and there's just desperation now. And it looks like they're going to be fielding players that have zero experience and stuff like this. So, yeah, absolutely nailed on for me that Brighton win that game. It's just a case of having the right assets, and really, really difficult to point you guys in the right direction on that. But as you say, Enciso, definitely one to consider. I think that's about it, to be honest, in terms of main team news. Obviously, Ivan Toney missing for Brentford. We don't know really how Brentford do without him. It rarely happens. There have not been many occasions when we've had to see Brentford without Ivan Toney. So, Tottenham against Brentford, the first game of the weekend. Obviously not got great faith in Tottenham pulling off a result there. Probably have got faith in Harry Kane scoring, but that's about it. Brentford, don't know.
Means Visser's going to play. And he's got some
we
points.
Can say that, yeah.
And Bomo and Visser up top. Yeah, it's, 8 months. We haven't spoken really about this on Chasing Green, but interesting to see how Brentford start the season without him. Like he's not going to be available till, I think, after the winter break. Like
it's a long time, isn't it? It's a long time. I don't know. I mean, for Brentford, I think honestly, it's probably quite good news because it means they keep him. He's not going to be leaving. They'll probably give him a new contract in the time being, and they'll wait for him to come back. It's just finding a plan B for those months at the start of next season when he's gone.
Yeah. For those of you just joining us, thank you for joining our Friday night special, our slightly later version. Let us know if you like this time slot in the chat. If you prefer earlier in the day, we've done, I think, as early as like 3 p.m. and as late as 8. So let us know what you guys like. We're with you for another 35 minutes, and we're hoping you want to show your appreciation for the channel by subscribing if you don't already, although I know our hardcore chasers all subscribed. But likewise, you can hit that like button. It goes a long way. So yeah, do feel like you can hit that. Eddie has questions about transfers. Maybe we'll try and do a couple of minutes on transfers towards the end of the show. But there will be way more transfers in the next couple of weeks coming from Chasing Green Arrows. As soon as that window opens, this will be the home of summer transfers. So the FPL content might stop for a little while, but then the transfer chat continues. And then, of course, as soon as the game is live and we're building up to game week 1, there'll be plenty of FPL content on Chasing Green Arrows as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've got a few people lined up to come on here over the summer. I think we might get a few exclusives on here, I think we might do it. Yeah. I'm quite optimistic we'll get some good transfer news on here across the summer. So make sure you keep joining us, and whatever questions you want to ask, we'll answer them like normal, but we're going to put some structure into the shows and make them orientated around like certain teams or players. But yeah, be an open book as normal.
Amazing. Love hearing that. Guys, we have still got our teams to show. We've got Against the Obvious, and we're going to be taking your questions. But I think without further ado, we should probably get to our teams. And before we do, very quickly, for those just joining and asking about Rashford, the evidence we have so far suggests he hasn't been pictured getting off the team coach. United have flown to Bournemouth today. About 15 of the players that have come off the team coach have been identified because they've got their hoods down. They're easy to spot. There's 1 or 2 players we're not sure who they are. One could be Rashford, but it looks to me like it might be Wan-Bissaka instead. So at the moment, we don't think he's with the team and has travelled on the team coach from the airport to the hotel. Does that mean you should sell him? I don't think it does, because I think if it's just a little illness, he'll probably play game 2 and you'll want him in game week 38. But if you are looking for a double and you can make that straight swap to Bruno, for example, then it's something you should consider. But look, let's have a look at Dean and mine and my team, see how we're accommodating Man United assets. So next up, we have our team reveals.
Yeah, so this is my team at the moment. Haven't made any transfers yet. Thought I'd save it so that we could discuss it on here. Need Man United assets. Haven't got any. Only got one Man City asset too. So struggling a bit in that sense. Happy to take 2 transfers. To be honest, Mitoma, it's a bit annoying. I'm not sure that I'm getting the version of him I expected by the time we're getting to this stage. Obviously, I've still got March on the bench. I mean, he's rotting literally away on the bench. So that's a bit annoying. Was thinking I'd have got Rashford in. So that was going to be my plan. Rashford in for United's double. But obviously now not interested in that, given that he's looking doubtful for that first game. I'll say if he was in my team, I'd keep him, but I can't transfer him in knowing that he's got an illness. So I'm going to have to steer clear of that. And unfortunately, I don't have the funds I need at the moment to get to Bruno Fernandes. So even if I was to take out Saka, I still can't quite get to Bruno Fernandes. So that would take a big double switch if I was to try and accommodate him. So let me know if you see anything obvious, people, as to what you think I should be doing. But yeah, very open at the moment to 2 transfers.
I'm trying to work out. Let us know in the chat. I think there's going to be loads of people saying get Bruno. And I'm just curious to know everyone's routes to getting Bruno for Dean, because I'm thinking, I look at this team going, you can get Bruno in 2 moves, but I don't know.
I need to open up. Yeah, I need to open up another. If I get rid of Saka to bring him in, then I have to open up another 0.6 million.
So you could go Gabriel down to Lindelof or someone like that.
So I could do something like that. Yeah. So it might have to be the defense. I think that I take it from. I mean, some people would say I could go to Kane. I'm not sure I want to go to Kane.
Kane's getting points out of Brentford.
He's getting points.
He gets 7-8 points every week.
This is the thing, and he's got Brentford at home. I don't want to gamble on that. I'd rather keep Kane, especially if so many people have ditched him at this point. I might as well keep him as a differential. Take the money out of March. I mean, yeah, I don't care about having March, but
you need more money than 5 million.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm not sure what I'm going to get in return for that.
I guess you could sacrifice Hakpo, but again, I wouldn't want to sell him with those fixtures. So it does feel like it's a shame you can't go March or Matoma up and then sacrifice someone else. You could go Trippier. Could you go Matoma or March to Bruno and Trippier to Lindelof? No, that you'd still be 1 or 2 million short, I think.
Yeah, still short. I mean, I could get Wan-Bissaka in for Gabriel, something like that. Lindelof in for Gabriel, like you say. It's not great. I mean, I'll be honest, it's really not a great selection of players that I could get. There's no one at City that's going to be worthwhile getting in. Let's just read through the comments here, see what other people are suggesting. Hakpo and Saka to Eze and Bruno. Not the worst shout. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, Paul. But the only problem with Eze is he's playing against Fulham. So I don't like that. I think we're going to beat Palace.
I like Hakpo. There's a few saying get rid of him, but I think Hakpo's a really nice differential for you. Southampton on the final day, and I think Liverpool beat Villa convincingly as well. And look, we know one thing, that Liverpool front line features Hakpo every single time. I think it will be Diaz, Hakpo, Salah. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, exactly. He might be dragged at some point for Firmino, but also Hakpo just gets in such good positions.
Yeah.
He's always in and around the chances, and I like that about him. As you say, at this stage of the season, I'm happy to take a chance on something like that. It's not like I'm like Ali and I've got everything on the line here. I've got barely anything on the line. I'm trying to chase down some money in my mini league, and that's about it at this stage. So yeah, that's it. But I think I need. Do I need Bruno? I don't know. What do you think? Do I have to have Bruno if I've got to do this, or is there other routes to go to other players? I mean,
he's getting a lot of love this week, but I do think, rightly so, I wouldn't call Bruno essential, but I think when we look at players in the game that are absolutely essential that every team needs at the moment, it's Haaland and it's Trent. That's pretty much it. Like you can get away with not owning Salah and Rashford and Bruno. But Bruno, for me, is the player I'm most scared of this week, for sure. Like, he's someone I don't own, and I'm going to be probably having to take a 4-point hit to get to him because I just feel he's going to get 180 minutes. His underlying numbers have been so impressive. Like, he hasn't been getting the points, but he's been creating all the chances, and people like Anthony just can't hit a barn door. And I think the points are going to come. I'm with you. That Bournemouth fixture's tricky, but I still think United edge it and score a goal or two.
Yeah.
And Chelsea at home fixture's really good for them because at home form's great. And then it's home again to Fulham, where again I see goals. So I feel like Bruno is encouraged, but not a must-have.
Yeah, I think so. What do you make of Curtis Jones, by the way? I mean, I feel like he's not got the respect he perhaps deserves. I was looking through like Liverpool's like big changes. So Liverpool, ever since that battering they got at City, 9 games now unbeaten. Those 9 games, Trent has changed his position and Curtis Jones has started every one of those 9 games.
Yeah.
He's able to play more advanced. He's able to get on the ball more as a result of Trent playing that role that he now plays. I'm not saying he's essential or anything like that, but it's something that we just don't talk about at all. He's one of the players. He's selected by 0.2% of people. 16 points in his last game. A couple of weeks ago, he got 8 points in the Liverpool's 4-3 win over Tottenham. He's picked up a few points in between too. I just feel like the positions Jones picks up, I definitely want him or anything like that. But I'm looking at their last 2 games and seeing they play Aston Villa and Southampton, knowing that Klopp's loving him in that team right now. And I'm like, do you know what? I don't mind getting him in.
I'm with you, mate. I'm really surprised by the positions he takes up. Watching him against Leicester, I was like, he's not touched the ball, and then he went and scored 2 goals. And he's not really involved in the build-up because everything goes through Trent or Fabinho or Henderson. There's those 3 guys all there that want the ball, demand the ball, love those cute little passes.
Yeah.
Jones has almost got like a kind of free roll sounds.
He's got a freedom for sure.
He definitely does have a freedom. Like, he's not this creative number 10 that's drifting around everywhere, but he makes these late runs into the box, often unmarked because he's been a ghost in the game. And we can see from his last couple of finishes against Leicester, like, he knows how to hit a ball clean, and he can find corners. So clearly a very good finisher when he gets the opportunities. And I think he's going to get shots against Villa for sure. And he's going to get plenty of shots on the final day against Southampton. That could be a mauling, that. Like, the St Mary's crowd won't really turn up for that. No. There'll be loads of empty seats. There'll be kids on show. Liverpool will know if they win the game, depending on other swings that day with United or Newcastle dropping points, there's a chance to get top 4. They're going to go hell for leather and they'll win it 4-0. Like, I'm tempted to put a bet on that they'll win by 3-4 goals plus because I can just see them absolutely running riot, and therefore he's an option.
Yeah, 100%. A few people are suggesting, by the way, that I go get rid of Wilson to accommodate somebody else to then get Bruno. Like, I can't do that. Like, not the form that Wilson's in and knowing that everybody else has got him. I mean, I can't do that. Like,
that's people that think he won't start, Dean, I reckon, because there's been a lot of chat in the community of, Wilson can't start because it's 3 games in a week, and it's like, he doesn't have anything to prepare for now. He's got a summer off. He'll start Monday, and it's Monday night. He'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe that is the reason people saying it. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And Inda, sell Trippier, please. Why?
Oh, harsh. He's just got 2 assists, 2 bonus points.
One of my favourite players, Inda. You're one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
Kepa to Bruno, says Rob Jones. I would if I could, trust me.
Love that. Well, look, we'll show Dean's team on Monday, and we'll see how he gets on.
Thanks for your advice, everyone. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I hope you're going to do the same with me, guys, because I'm also got a bit of a conundrum. So let's have a look at my team up next. Trippier's injured. Oh no, I don't think he is injured. I think Trippier's fine. I know he's got a yellow flag on him.
Because he's flagged. Okay, fair enough.
He is flagged, and I think Eddie Howe said post-match. He mentioned Willock, maybe someone else, and Trippier as like, all picked up knocks.
Like Joel Linton or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was it. But I think that's the sorts of knocks where, Willock's probably out and Trippier's probably fine.
Yeah.
I think we risk that one.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Here we go. My team. I've got money in the bank, but it's not enough. annoyingly, it's not enough to make the Rashford to Bruno switch, or the other guy I'm willing to compromise and sacrifice in the middle is Grealish, but for Bruno. And that's with a heavy heart. Like, Grealish has a double game week. But how else do I get Bruno in? There's another option here, and I considered it earlier in the week. And then this morning, I was like, I cannot sell Mohamed Salah. I was like, Salah's got one fixture against Villa. Bruno's got two. I could go Salah to Bruno, and then next week, if I want to reverse it, I could reverse it. But I just can't. So Bruno is coming into this team. I don't know if it's going to be for Rashford, because I'm now worried about minutes this double game week, or if it's for Grealish, who I think probably only starts one in the double. Like, let us know in the chat. Do we think Jack Grealish starts both games? I don't think he does. I think he starts Chelsea, and that Brighton game, I think it's going to see quite a bit of rotation. So the likes of Foden can get minutes in. And then on the final day of the season, game week 38, again, Pep's going to want to go fairly full strength, because it's then 6 days before the FA Cup final, which is another week before the Champions League final, and he needs minutes in their legs. Yeah. So with Grealish only starting one, I'm thinking Grealish to Bruno, and then to sacrifice money, I will go Chilwell down to annoyingly, I can't go to a United defender like a Lindelof, because I've got 3 United already if I buy Bruno. So I'm thinking, if I go down all the way to a Patterson at 3.8 or 3.9, it then allows me on the final day to go Matoma or McAllister out. It gives me 1.1 in the bank, where I can buy Trossard for a final day punt. Martinelli's out for the rest of the season. Trossard plays Wolves. I think I'm going to give myself enough money to bring in an Arsenal midfielder next week, and therefore Grealish to Bruno, Chilwell to Patterson, who I might actually play in game week 38. Everton are at home to Bournemouth. They might need a clean sheet to stay in the league. I think that's what I'm planning on doing. What do you reckon, Dean?
Yeah, I like that. What are we thinking about Mahrez at the moment? Is that an option? Is Mahrez?
Yeah, I think he's got a very good chance of 2 starts.
I think so too. We've seen how he reacts to these moments. I always sleep on him, always.
Yeah, same.
And he's not an obvious pick, and it always feels like a gamble if you're picking Mahrez. But I don't know. It's one of those moments where I'm like, should I be considering this? Let us know in the chat what you think about the potential of Mahrez. I mean, Grealish obviously is absolutely flying at the moment, but we all know that like his minutes might be reserved right now for the big games that City have got coming up. But equally, it's tough to know. Like they've got games here that they absolutely have to win. Yeah, Gundogan as well. Good point, Tafiq. Like that is also an option.
Yeah.
Still, people asking about Rashford. By the way, we don't know about Rashford. We know that he's ill. We know he hasn't been seen. We're not advising people to bring him into your team. If you got him, feel free to keep.
Yeah. I think the chat's got this right. The chat is loving Mahrez as a punt, and perhaps more so than a Foden, a Grealish, even a Gundogan. I think there's a good chance Grealish, Foden, Gundogan, I would have them all down for maybe 1 start, and I think I'd have Mahrez down for 2, but it's just a punt.
It's a punt.
Yeah, that's where I think I am. Guys, the other move I was thinking about making, the reason I'm not doing this is I could sell, say, Rashford to bring in Bruno, and then I could go Chilwell down to a United defender. Yeah. If I brought a United defender in, let's say Luke Shaw or Lindelof was in this team, I'd have to bench Trippier. And I'm like, is it really worth taking a 4-point hit to bring in a United defender who I like, but then benching Trippier just feels so wrong? It's a really good fixture for him, isn't it?
Really good fixture. I think it's too good a fixture. I mean, because there's points available at both ends for him, isn't there? That's the problem. Like, Leicester is in such a mess. Like, they just look totally torn apart, that team. I don't think that's worth it, mate. I just don't. I don't have enough faith in Man United to think that they're going to outscore Kieran Trippier.
Why do we all think, because I'm with you in the chat, like a lot of saying Leicester will score, like straight away, the first few comments, like that's the move, Leicester will lose but score. Adam says Leicester will score. Why do we all think Leicester will score? Because Leicester are rubbish, but because we see they're a good team on paper, like I said it the same when they played Liverpool. I was like, Leicester will score tonight against Liverpool. Yeah. They didn't, and they often don't. They're rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it probably helps that Newcastle have finally started leaking goals. I mean, that is one thing to say. I mean, everyone constantly is just stuck on this agenda of well, Newcastle have such a good defensive record across the season. I mean, I'm just trying to quickly look this up as to when Newcastle actually last kept a clean sheet. 2nd of April was the last time they kept a clean sheet. So it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 or 9 games since Newcastle kept a clean sheet. It's just not happening at the moment. So maybe that's where the optimism comes from.
Yeah, and look, Newcastle, I think it's 1 clean sheet in 15, 16. It's fair, but they have been conceding a lot of just 1-goal games. And even against Brighton, the XG against them is pretty low. They've been unlucky not to keep more clean sheets than they have recently. I know they started the season with probably a bit too much luck, so it's probably balanced itself out.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's that. True.
Yeah. And that move, by the way, that I mentioned as a United defender in move, Aston Villa, Bozzy says, Luke Shaw in his 3 fixtures versus Trippier in his 2 fixtures, 100% the best move. Go for Luke Shaw. And annoyingly, with that Rashford to Bruno in move, it gives me 4.9 to spend on a defender. I can't reach Luke Shaw. It would be someone like Lindelof. And maybe if it was Shaw, it would sway me because you get the assist threat.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'll be going to Patterson of Everton, who I think are playing game week 38, and Grealish out, who I'll just be anxious that he's not going to play in game 2, and he probably won't. And I think I'll be okay with that decision. I'm also really reluctant to sell Rashford, who even if he doesn't play against Bournemouth, if he starts versus Chelsea at Old Trafford, Rashford could get big points in that fixture. So I just can't.
Oh, absolutely. I can't believe Rashford's 6.9, by the way. That's mental.
I know, that is crazy. We are not going to see Rashford at 6.9 next season. And we probably, I was trying to work this out earlier, will we see Rashford as a midfielder or forward next year? Because historically, the likes of Mo Salah, we've always asked a question at the end of the year. Oh, will this be the year Mo Salah goes to a forward? Because he played a few games as the number 9 and he's equally as advanced as the number 9. If you play wide, you're a midfielder. But Rashford has actually been playing down the middle a load because Martial's always injured. So I do wonder if he is one that could be recategorized as, say, Wilfried Zaha was 2 years back. He then went back to a midfielder, but I think it was Roy Hodgson at the time was playing him down the middle a lot. And FPL saw that and went, yeah, we'll list him as a forward. What do you reckon, Dean? Will he be? He came into the game as an 18-year-old as a forward originally.
Yeah, and I think a lot will depend on whether Man United have signed a forward by that point, because if they haven't, then you're going to, the people in the game are going to be like, oh, hang on, we haven't got any forwards listed for Man United. We've got Martial, who's probably going to be at the time rumoured to leave. Weghorst is going to be gone. There's going to be nobody to stick in the forwards section for Man United, basically. Alanga's probably gone. Anyone that was considered perhaps as a forward option might not be at the club, and they might not have got round to even signing the new forward by the time the new game was launched. So another reason I think that Rashford, might definitely be considered as a forward next season. I think he should be, if I'm honest. I think Rashford should be listed as a forward at this point. But I genuinely think it will depend on how much business they've managed to do by whatever date this app's going to be released at the end of July.
Yeah. And I do wonder, guys, this season, if this is the year where FPL maybe has a little revamp with the rules, the chips. For the last, is it 4 seasons now? The chips have been the same pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they had that all-out attack chip, which was the last change. They replaced, I think, free hit with all-out attack was replaced with free hit, which was a good move. But I wonder if we see something different. Is this the year where we see defensive midfielders become a thing because they get points for recoveries or something like that? I just wonder if we'll see something a little bit more fun. And we'll be keeping up to date with that. As soon as the game is released, I can almost guarantee there'll be a stream out on this show within hours or days of that release. And it will be in July at some point. So keep your eyes peeled.
100%. Yeah, we'll definitely be on that.
Dean, should we do Against the Obvious and then do a good 10-minute Q&A?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Let's do that. Guys, I am loving the comments in the chat, and loads of you are liking with thumbs up. If you want to hit the like button, feel free. Over 350 of you in, which is really good for us on a Friday night. Did you see Dave's comment? 5K is amazing considering this channel started not long ago. Growing at pace. We love to hear that. Thank you very much, Dave.
Cheers, Dave.
We don't often see Dave in the chat, do we? We don't often see Barry either. We're seeing some, and George, I've seen loads of you, and Jason, load of
It's
you.
the latest start.
Aren't
Everyone's just
regulars.
going, hitting a new audience again, new times.
Yeah. Did you notice CH was late today as well? She only came in about 10 minutes ago. Not
I
happy.
saw that. I did see that. Not happy at all.
Aman, we'll try and get to your question as well. And Ankit too, good questions about Martial. We're going to do against the obvious, and then it's time for your questions. So without further ado, let's have a look at who we're punting against this week.
Yep, here we go. We haven't actually spoken about him, I don't think, all show long. But my against the obvious this week is Martin Odegaard, one of the players of the season. Right, we can start the clock. Look, I mean, I'll be honest, I think that a lot of this just comes down to a hunch, and it's that the Odegaard points tend to come in clusters. We've seen it across the season where particularly Martinelli, Odegaard and Saka tend to have spells between them. I didn't see Odegaard's latest rise coming. I've got to admit, I thought that he might be fading out on the points front, but he didn't. He came in big, and you saw those games against Chelsea and Newcastle. I was thinking, oh no, like I've really, really missed this one. Then obviously he gets a 2-pointer against Brighton. I'll be honest, like I know that on paper it looks good to be playing Nottingham Forest away this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it is, I don't think that this is the type of fixture that actually Martin Odegaard is going to really enjoy. I don't think it's a fixture he's going to score in. Got a sneaky feeling that Forest actually get something from this game as well, by the way. Yeah, it's just a hunch I've got. Martin Odegaard, look, 6.8 million seems value. I would avoid it.
I'm with you, mate. I think that is such a tricky game. And actually, if Arsenal did have to go to Forest to get something to win the league, I wouldn't really be backing them. So the fact that they're out the title, I'm clearly still not backing them. And Forest have got everything to play for. It's going to be some atmosphere there.
Yeah, definitely. And as someone just said in the chat, they're good at home, and it's exactly that. Their away form's the thing that's let them down.
Yeah, exactly. Nice call this week and 30% owned. And the Arsenal mids, guys, if you don't own them, every week you should be cheering on their blanks. We want Saka blanks. We want Martinelli blanks. We want Odegaard blanks because they're all popular assets because they were so good at the start and middle of the season. And even Odegaard up to a couple of weeks ago. And because of that, when they blank, it really works for you in your mini leagues. And of course, your overall rank too. So more blanks for Arsenal. I do think a lot of us will be punting on an Arsenal player for 1 week only in 38. That home fixture against Wolves could be really good. End at the Emirates, pressure off, big scoreline there, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's have a look who I went for this week. I went for someone that's probably in a load of our teams at the moment. Probably similar ownership to Odegaard. Here we go. It is Matoma, who's been disappointing. I wonder if he's just not used to, he's clearly new to the Premier League. So let's start that clock. And he hit the ground running. When I say hit the ground running, Potter didn't play him at first. It was only after the World Cup, De Zerbi was putting him in the team, and he was amazing. But playing Premier League football consistently over the course of 9 months is so tricky. And I think we're seeing that from Matoma. He's looking a little bit tired. He's flagging. And in the last 8 games, he's only got 1 return, a measly assist for 8 games. Yet he's still in all of our teams. We need him to produce points against Southampton. The big concern I've got against Southampton is he's going to be benched. I really hope I'm wrong. And he's still in my team and I'm going to risk it. But I genuinely think there is a very good chance he misses out against Southampton because he's tired, because De Zerbi thinks they can beat Southampton without him, because they want to play him against City. Someone like Enciso can play from that left-hand side. I think Enciso starts regardless of Matoma, but there is a chance this guy is left out. And if you are on the fence about selling him, I would.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm definitely worried about Matoma. Like that. Been gearing up for weeks for these doubles and not looking like the way that we all thought it would pan out with him and March and stuff. So yeah, I can totally understand. I mean, look, you've been a bit bolder than me there. You've picked someone that genuinely like a lot of people have in their teams right now. So we'll have to see how that one plays out.
Yeah. I'm praying he starts. If he does start against Southampton, I'm confident we get points. I think he could have really good fun. But if he doesn't, then yeah, he's not going to get points against City. So yeah, it could be another 2-point week. Fingers crossed there for us owners.
Yeah.
We've got a very busy. As soon as we mentioned we're going to do a Q&A, I've seen some good questions,
A lot of
coming
questions.
in.
Okay.
So we got 9 minutes of the show. We'll try and answer. We'll do should we do alternate for 9 minutes, Dean? What do you reckon?
We can try, mate. We can try.
Yeah.
We'll give it a crack.
Good stuff. Hit us with your questions, guys. Thanks for supporting. And in the meantime, you can hit the like and subscribe. We'll try and show you questions that are of merit for the masses. Do you want to kick us off, Dean?
Yeah, so Meerkat says, currently starting Odegaard. Should I -4 to Rashford? No, like if Rashford was like 100% going to play both games, I would say yeah. But given that he's a doubt for the first game, don't do that. Don't take a -4 for Rashford now.
Agreed. Punter, oh mate. Differential triple captain. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, you have to use it this week because you have to go for a double game weeker. Mahrez and Punter, you know what I was going to say? Bruno is the best differential captain this week and triple captain. Yeah. So if you can stretch to Bruno, that would be amazing. But Mahrez, if not, Anthony. We haven't spoken about Anthony in today's stream, but he is due. He's rubbish, but he's due.
Oh, dear.
So many shots last time out. He's just been off his game, but Ten Hag's sticking with him and he will get chances.
Alvarez punt, says Dario. Ooh. I mean, I don't hate that by any stretch of the imagination. Chelsea and Brighton up in a double for Man City, and then Brentford to come in the last game of the season when they're gearing up for 2 cup finals. Yes, I'm all for that. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned that before tonight.
Yeah, really like that, Dario. Spoken about him. Yeah, he'll definitely get one start, and there's a chance. Like his routes to the team are, if KDB misses out, he's in. If Haaland misses out, he's in. Yeah.
He's got 2 places like opening up for him there, and possibly one in each game. So yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, fair point. Torben says 30 points behind a mini league. 30 points is a ton to make up. Dude, if your team is similar, you have to go against Haaland captain because you're not going to make up 30 in 2 game weeks if your team's similar. If your team's already different and you're backing your guys versus his guys, you can captain Haaland. But I think for you at the moment, Bruno captain sounds probably worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in a similar situation to that too. I'm still keeping Haaland, I think. Right, gets footy. Who do I bench? Grealish, Rashford, or Salah? Blimey, it's like a proper dream team of subs there. Grealish, Rashford, Salah. I mean, Rashford just because he's ill, but then he's got that second game, so. Mate, this is a really hard question. Why? I don't know why we're in this situation where we're benching one of these guys.
Is there no other route?
Is there no other route like that you can keep one of these in your team? I don't understand why you want to even have these guys if they're going to be on the bench. This is why I bought
Greenwood at Leeds, mate. I just didn't want the headache.
You shouldn't be having someone of this value on your bench at this stage. It just seems unnecessary, to be honest. What are you saving them for? There's nothing to save them for. I'll be tempted to chop one of those out rather than stick one of them on the bench and open some funds up. Yeah. If I had to, I'll say Rashford just because he's a doubt.
Good stuff, Garav. What do I do with KDB? Okay, you keep Kepa. I think there's a chance he'll play 1. And there's a chance he plays 2, and you could get save points. He's going to concede, but you keep him. Don't use a transfer and a goalkeeper. There's more exciting ones. KDB. Oh, I would hold, but I think he starts 1 of the 2. But I would hold because I think you could have big points of him in 38. Ali, let us know in the chat. World number 1, what are you doing with KDB? You're not going to want to say publicly, are you, Ali? You're playing with your cards a bit closer to your chest in the last few weeks. Turn me down to come on my YouTube show. I get it. But yeah, there's a chance Ali sells him. So yeah.
Hang on, just remind me, what is his prize if he wins this?
It's not the best prize. It's more the bragging rights and the opportunities off the back of it. But no, the prize is VIP tickets to a Premier League game of your choice. I think that's it. So I guess they'll like pay for your trip over.
Fly him over, right?
Yeah, right. And then hotel and stuff. But yeah,
I mean, it's still pretty cool. But I still think that's not enough for winning this league. I mean, really
you win
don't.
the Sun game, and you win like 50 grand or 100 grand, whatever it is. And that's the Sun Dream Team that's got barely any managers.
Yeah. 100%. What are you beating 12 million people here to it? Absolutely ridiculous. All right, next question. Yeah, Rahul, sell Trippier to Kivior or Isak to Alcaraz to fund Bruno. I think. Let me just. Who have I got more faith in here? I'm gonna say sell Isak. I'd sell Isak. I'm really confident that Tripp's having a good week here. I just think that like the upside of Trippier in this fixture is massive, and Isak we've seen is inconsistent with actually getting in among the goals. So yeah, Trips.
Yeah, good stuff, Rahul. Good question. And in the Daz, KDB, March, Rashford. Who to sell for Bruno? Wow. I mean, if you can do a straight swap March to Bruno, and in that you have to sell Solly March, he is injured. You sell Solly March. Yeah, easy one.
Blimey, yeah, that would be good if you got that much in the bank. You're better at saving than I am. I've absolutely no right to be answering a question from Ali. Who do you guys? What do you guys think of Alvarez from now until the end? I mean, he is actually one of.
Not for me.
You don't think?
I don't know. He's a great
his
pick.
situation, or in like my situation, is it different because he's top of the league?
Yeah, I don't like it for Ali at all. It's
right, you don't like it for
far too
Ali.
risky.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Because there's a chance he starts 1 in the next 3. There's a chance, and best case he starts 2.
Yeah,
now,
I agree. Yeah,
those
that's
2 will get points, and he could go big. And therefore, if me or Dean pick him, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But for Ali, I'm like, go for someone with minutes.
Yeah, and also like nobody else. It's a gamble you probably don't need to take it in your position.
He needs to take that gamble.
If you were second or third in the league, like maybe you are doing that because you're trying to look for something that top spot isn't going to risk. No, I like the pick, but not for you, Ali. You're probably the only person I wouldn't recommend that pick to.
Imagine if we both go great pick and he does it, and then he loses his number 1 spot.
We can't have it on our conscience, can we? Not that the show can't handle that. We don't have insurance. We can't take it when he sues us.
This show has been Ali's biggest champion out there. I promise you, there isn't a content creator out there that wants to rep Ali like we do. We start every stream talking about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we cannot sabotage him by saying pick Alvarez. We just can't do it. Although we did agree with him when we said, look, go Callum Wilson. So I was so proud that you went Wilson because he really was on the fence on that one. So.
Yeah, that's a good call. That was a very good call.
So we can take a lot of his
credit
success there. Yeah, credit for success. Caleb, Stones or a Stupinan? I would go Stones. Again, I think he starts 2 of the 3. If you want to go, I'd actually go. I think Diaz is the most likely Man City defender to play all 3. But again, there's a chance he starts 2 as well.
Yeah. Oh, last one. All right. Wayne. Hi, guys. Great channel. Thank you, mate. Please give us a like. 2 free transfers. I'm thinking Watkins to Enciso. 100% get Watkins out of your team. And Grealish to Fernandes. Sound okay? Sounds great. Sounds absolutely great, mate. You've absolutely nailed it.
Wayne, that is the dream move. Genuinely, before the game last night, when I saw Enciso was benched, I said to myself, my moves are Grealish to Bruno, and I'm going to sell Callum Wilson to Enciso because I know Enciso is now going to start against Southampton. I then watched Callum Wilson bag 2 goals and then thought, no, I can't sell to Callum Wilson. But if Callum Wilson had blanked last night or looked poor last night, that was my exact move. I think Enciso is a huge win this game week, and I love the pick.
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We have gone for an hour and I'm just looking at the numbers. Guys, it's awesome to have over 350 of you tonight. If you are just joining or if you've just joined in the last 10 minutes, go back and watch the rest of the show because we've had an hour of, I think, really rich, good FPL content. We did our fresh off the press. We spoke in detail about the chances of Rashford playing and who was getting off the bus. Was it him? Wasn't it him? We did our team reveals. We did against the obvious. And we took loads of juicy questions as well. So do go back and watch the start of the stream, the last hour if you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Dean, when are we going to be back? Monday? Is there
Tuesday,
a Monday night game?
Isn't it Tuesday?
We said Tuesday, didn't we? Yeah, there's a Monday night football.
There's games. Yeah.
Bloody Monday night football, which is Newcastle-Leicester. So guys, we'll be back Tuesday evening. Do hit that alarm bell to get notifications when we go live. And we look forward to seeing you then. But for now, he's been Dean. We've been Jan. Let me do that again. Right. But for now, he's been Dean. I've been Gianni. I'm very tired. And we've been chasing green arrows. Good night, guys.
Cheers.